The Federal Aviation Administration this afternoon saying that it's going to issue an emergency order requiring inspections of about 175 Boeing 737 aircraft. Now, the action was taken after cracks were uncovered on 3 Southwest Airlines 737s. Last Friday, a 5-foot-long hole tore open on a 737 in mid-flight. Now, the plane did make an emergency landing. There were no serious injuries. However, how a company deals with a highly public crisis and how it tries to assure investors, that's a key element of the company's strategy. My next guest has some experience in this area. Aaron Kwittken is the founder and chief executive of Kwittken Co. Aaron, great to have you with us on Taking Stock. Thanks for coming in. When you heard about this incident on Southwest Airlines, and as an expert in dealing with crisis management and damage control, what would you have laid out as a playbook for Southwest Airlines management?
Well, first and foremost, thank God they landed the plane safely with no serious injury.
Right, the pilot and the co-pilot, right?
Thank God, yes. But I think, they have actually handled it in a very textbook manner. They've been very operational. They have talked about the planes have taken out of service, the planes they're inspecting, cancellations, things like that. And I think they've been very vocal immediately. They've issued, I think, 5 or 6 press releases, and that's fine. The bigger issue really is this a wake-up call for Southwest to reevaluate its brand? Fun, frivolous. There's nothing fun and nothing funny about flying. If you've ever flown on a Southwest jet, that's their thing, right? Discount and fun. And I think now really what passengers probably are looking for is it's safe. And I think that's very important. So they need to think about how do they reevaluate and recast their brand with this halo of safety, because they're going to be under a microscope now, more so than any other airline. Just yesterday they had an incident, right, that probably wouldn't have been reported on had it not been for the previous incident.
Well, you also mentioned just before coming on that Southwest could have also taken this as an opportunity to introduce the pilot, the co-pilot, and the crew to the public because of the action that they took to land the plane safely.
Right. They don't make the planes. They're obviously responsible for inspecting them, but what a great job the pilot and the crew did. That was a missed opportunity. And yeah, okay, they didn't land the bird in the Hudson, but still, the guy dropped it from 30-something thousand feet to 11,000 feet, and everybody was safe, and that's what's most important. They missed a great opportunity there to communicate around that.
Now, talk a little bit more about the airline industry and its image with the public right now, because it does get a bad rap many times, and yet a lot of the things that we look to the airline industry to do are really outside their control. Anything that goes on really in the airport, like security, that's handled by the government, so you can't blame them for that.
Well, I think that's a good point, and I think, remember, every company, regardless of the industry, they're not really judged by the public on what happened. They're judged on how they react to what happened, right? And the thing to keep in mind is when you board an airplane, the first thing the pilot says is the flight attendants are there for your safety first and foremost, not to necessarily serve you. And I think they need to focus on that. And they also should look at other airlines. So JetBlue is a great example. They are very entrepreneurial. They are changing things. They've transformed the airline industry. At least they've pushed the other airlines to doing it better, doing it right. I think Southwest now needs to look back at JetBlue and say, what are they doing well? And JetBlue, if you recall, has had their own issues. Not necessarily quality related, but customer service related, like leaving people out on the tarmac for 7-8 hours. They've recovered. Take a look back at what they did to recover in terms of passenger bill of rights, communicating effectively with passengers more often, and again, safety first. Safety is very important.
What about Boeing's response to this? Do you think that Boeing ought to be doing something differently? I mean, after all, they've got a Dreamliner 787 that's literally waiting in the wings to enter service.
Right. Well, I just think that there's an inherent risk in certain industries, and the airline industry is one of them. Boeing, I think, is very good at not just the operational response, but communicating around incidents like these, and I think they've done a good job, quite frankly.
What about the government's role? Do you think that they're on top of things? That they give you the impression that they're doing what they need to make the skies safe?
I think they're staying the course. I don't know. I think we'd have to take a survey. But, the government is always going to say it's more of an industry issue. They're going to say there are no directives issued. They're going to not provide a point of view. They're just going to provide data. And that's what they're doing.
Well, I want to thank you for providing more than data.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Aaron Kwittken coming to us from Kwittken Co.
Thanks.
Thank you.